In 1929, the Soviet government officially banned Christmas celebration as an awkward religious holiday. But it seemed to be too radical even to the atheist politicians. Winter holidays finally returned with some ideological changes, although the changes did not look significant to the Russian children who could now receive gifts again. The celebration was moved from the Christmas Day to New Year's Eve to avoid religious connections. Christmas trees became New Year's trees. The red star replaced the Bethlehem star on top. The characters who appeared in the 1937 New Year party in Moscow were the most surprising. It was Father Frost and his daughter, Snegarochka, or was she his granddaughter? But that was not the only intriguing thing in their family story. The old gentleman in the red fur coat caused a strong association with Santa, despite a minor difference in the clothes. But Father Frost did prefer to use horses for transportation. In the crucial features to give gifts, they both succeeded St. Nicholas, the popular gift-making character within Christian tradition. Despite the desire of Soviet authorities to prevent Father Frost as completely new and a laic character, his background was not unlikely to be hidden from nerdy researchers. He had first been mentioned in a book issued in 1840. The Frost appeared as a very kind old man residing in his ice palace, where children could get in through a water well. There were only two things the Frost could not tolerate: lies and laziness. In early stories, the character froze liars to death, but with time, his anger softened, and in later tales, the troublemaker received from Frost an icicle instead of gifts. People in the Russian countryside had their own image of the Frost, though, and that was connected to pagan rituals and the dead. The connection reflected in the ritual provided during Svyatki, which was the time after Christmas. Villagers cooked ritual food and called the Frost to share it with them. It might sound strange, but peasants asked the Frost to send cold weather, since cold and deep snow in winter were associated with future rich harvests. As Svyatki was the time to honor the dead ancestors, the origin of Father Frost in the other world becomes obvious. But how about Snegarochka? The folk tales are not so clear in her case. Even her age is not defined exactly, as she can appear as a little girl or a young woman. Most of the tales say she was a snow girl made by a childless couple and then miraculously come alive. The initial character was tragic, as the girl melted in the summer. According to another and probably older version, she was killed by jealous girls and buried in the forest. Later, an artist made a flute from the shrub that grew at her grave. When someone played that flute, it began to name Snegarochka's killers. One of the girls broke the flute. That act brought Snegarochka back to life, and the girls who had killed her were sent to the forest to become prey to the wolves. Her image became popular in Russia after the same-named opera by Rimsky-Korsakov and was first staged in 1882. By the early 20th century, Snegarochka already was strictly associated with Christmas celebration. So Soviet authorities did not actually invent anything completely new. The Soviet Snegarochka had to be incredibly energetic and industrious, since she became the only assistant of Father Frost. Neither elves nor siblings were involved in the process. The siblings stayed the most mysterious and officially hidden part in her story. The Soviets did not care much about them, so we had to look for answers in the past. In the 19th century opera, she was depicted as the daughter of Father Frost and the Lady Springtime, although some features hints on Snegarochka's background as the Slavic pagan goddess Morana, who was associated with winter, cold, and death. Morana herself dies as winter ends and comes alive again with the cold season, just like the later story of the dying and reviving Snegarochka. Now, after all that, do the Soviets look as atheistic as they declared? Are they more pagan than they appeared? These are good questions to ask, we think. Thanking you for joining us again on Deviant History. We look forward to seeing you next time.